This week, one Conservative MP crossed the floor and another announced plans to resign from the House of Commons altogether. The political turbulence sparking renewed questions over Pierre Poilievre's future as Tory leader. A roaring applause Tuesday as Chris d'Entremont entered a Liberal caucus meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney. The Nova Scotia MP crossing the floor just as the Liberals were looking for votes to support the federal budget. D'Entremont telling media part of the reason he left was because he no longer felt represented by leader Pierre Poilievre. Another bombshell dropped yesterday with Matt Genereux, a Conservative MP from Edmonton, announcing his resignation. Genereux did not say why he was stepping away. With that comes questions, including what comes next for the party. Here to dive into that topic is Conservative strategist Jeff Rutledge. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Pleasure to be here.
Okay, listen, so one MP leaving is one thing. Two leaving in the same week, back to back, that's sure to raise some eyebrows, leading me to ask you what's going on with the Conservative Party, and is there a crisis happening?
I wouldn't necessarily position it as a crisis. You know, in reflecting on this, and I think that's really for a significant number of Conservatives, the perspective on this is a reflection. We've almost had a bit of a delay coming out of the last election, given everything that's been going on in the country and with cross-border trade issues. It almost feels as though there was a pause on that ability to go, okay, what really happened in the last election? And so I'm not surprised as MPs have returned to the House of Commons, they're chatting with their colleagues, they're talking with their constituents. They are doing some of that introspective thinking about what this means for their future and for the future of the party. And so I'm not completely surprised that some are having conversations, but at the same time, I think there is a kind of reaffirmation for many that they have a role to do as an opposition in holding the government to account, and we've seen that so far. But, again, conversations are good sometimes, especially as we're heading into a leadership convention, and giving the ability for MPs to talk to their colleagues about what really matters, and most importantly, what is going to deliver victory in the next general election.
We're going to touch on leadership in just a moment, but first, there's been lots of speculation as to why Genereux is stepping away, and we're hearing from the NDP today, who are claiming the Conservatives warned Matt Genereux that there are potential consequences should he cross the floor. I want you to listen to this clip, and then we'll chat.
You hear that the Conservatives issued a warning to him that there would be consequences. I mean, clearly he was leaving. And to be issued a notice that, that there's even going to be further ramifications, like, let him go.
And we should also mention that Genereux released a statement and has denied claims of coercion playing a role in his resignation. But, I'll ask you what you've heard about why he's stepping down and what the NDP mean when they say consequences.
Well, I think one of the nice things here that we're hearing from all parties is what a good guy Matt is. Mr. Genereux is, and how he's contributed to Parliament in the time that he's been there. He's not a newcomer. He's been there for a while, and so I get the perspective of him reflecting on what he feels is best for himself. The fact that he's not stepping down immediately, that he's giving the party time to prepare for what would be a likely by-election once he steps down is, I think, a signal of his belief that he needs to give the party the opportunity to do the right thing and get everything lined up. I will say, when it comes to Ottawa itself and when it comes to Parliament Hill, it loves a good rumor. And so, I won't chalk too much credibility up to what the NDP are certainly saying amongst the seven of them as they discuss what the priorities are for the Conservatives. But what I will say is that, I think you're going to see a lot of Conservatives who are thinking deeply about what the future of this party represents and what Canadians expect from them as an opposition.
And Chris d'Entremont, one of the statements he made following him crossing the floor, saying he no longer felt represented by the Conservatives. What do you think that, along with the two MPs stepping away from the party, says about Pierre Poilievre's leadership?
Well, I think, again, it's an introspective moment. I think Mr. Poilievre, and I've mentioned this before, is trying to speak to two audiences right now. One, who is the party faithful, and two, who's the Canadian general population. And this is a really challenging time to do that. You're faced with a significant budget that changes the dynamics of how this country, or attempts to change the dynamics of how this country is operating. And at the same time, you have to prepare yourself to go into a leadership convention, be able to secure the votes you need, and walk walk away from that with a clear mandate to take the party into the next general election, that's a really big challenge for him. And I think that, you know, it is good for the party to be asking what that plan looks like and how he's going to, you know, secure that support amongst his base and amongst those MPs that sit around him in the House.
You're hearing that conversation of whether or not he'll be able to survive this leadership review. But then the other question is, if not him, then who?
That will always be the question.
Right.
And I think, look, there is no political party that comes out of an electoral loss without a conversation about what it was that wasn't able to get them across the threshold, especially, you know, given the lead that the Conservatives went to in this past election. But, you know, we could be having the same conversation about literally any other political party as well, looking at the NDP and as they try to rebuild as well. Who's their leader going to be? It's a little bit harder to have a caucus revolt amongst 7 or so people. But I think that this is a very natural thing for a party to be doing, is looking at what it is going to take to win the next election.
And when Detremont crossed the floor, there was speculation if there would be any others who would follow suit here. Do you think that is likely to happen or not? Or do you think maybe that was played up a bit too much?
Again, Ottawa's a lovely rumor mill on many a good day, especially on a cold and rainy day in the middle of November. I think the rumors, they definitely grab headlines.
Yeah.
But, you know, crossing the floor is a very significant thing. It is a repudiation of a, you know, system of beliefs that you have brought to your electorate, and you have asked them to go and speak on their behalf in the House of Commons. And so I think, you know, certainly if I was providing advice to any of the MPs that are sitting there, is this is a very critical role that you are playing at a very important time in this country's history as we set out a path forward to determine our own future as a country. And as opposition MPs, you have a responsibility to hold the government to account that is about to spend more than any government prior to them. So this is a key time, and I hope that many MPs are reflecting on that.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Jeff, thanks so much for visiting us today.
No problem.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.